Now, I should preface, this is not going to be a step-by-step what editing software to use, how to shoot with each camera. This is going to be a general guideline of tips to actually help you go from zero to hero or from hero to superhero with vlogging. It's cool, I'm not trying to film a video. I'm gonna take this time to talk about jump cuts. Jump cuts for me are one of the biggest pieces of a vlog that I see a lot of people missing. And the goal is, at least from an audio perspective, to create an entire train of thought without having a bunch of abrupt interruptions in between. A good way that you can check to see if your jump cuts are good or not is to edit your clip to your liking and then watch the same clip with your eyes closed and just listen. Because if you can hear popping, dead space in the words, just things that don't need to be there, pull them out. A lot of times what I'll do is I will edit a video all the way through, what I think is all the way through, and then I will watch it again purely from an audio perspective to make sure that I don't have a bunch of weird things in my audio that I don't like. Now, granted, as always, this comes with an asterisk. Casey Neistat pretty much has a style of cutoff that is, when you already know what the word he's gonna say is, he cuts the clip. Works very well for him. Granted, if I did that, I'd probably have people in the comments like Kane. So it's really up to you. It depends on your style. It depends on the kind of video that you're going for, but jump cuts are a really good way to make sure that your video is fluid. Granted, like I said, asterisk, Superwoman barely uses jump cuts at all, and her vlogs are pretty damn good. So it's all up to you, but I would jump cut. If I were you, I would get real good at jump cuts. All right, these next two are coupled together, and that's gonna be framing and trying things more than once. We're gonna start with framing though, because So with framing, our asterisk still applies, and that is because nothing I'm about to tell you is set in stone in any way, shape, or form by anybody. And if you ever meet somebody that tries to tell you that there's a certain way that you should shoot such and such, they're wrong. Not that they're implicitly wrong, but the whole idea as a whole of there is a set way to shoot something is garbage. Now, that being said, there are some general guidelines that can help you learn basic principles. And what I mean by that is if you follow the rule of thirds to a T, your photos will look like garbage. If you loosely follow the rule of thirds, it'll get you a lot closer to a style that you can develop and call your own. If you just use, you know, the 4 points on the rule of thirds, everything that you do eventually will come out looking the same because this is the only thing you know. But you can also use the rule of thirds once you've graduated from just basic shot composition. Every shot you've ever seen since I got my DSLR has had the rule of thirds grid set up before I actually click record, and that is because I like to get my shots centered and make sure that everything is straight up and down. That is a really big thing for the rule of thirds, and I will say for framing in general, make sure your shots, at least try to, make sure that lines are crisp. Make sure things are straight up and down. Now, if you're looking for an askew angle, as always, there's our asterisk, but if you're not, if you're just trying to get some general stuff done, definitely shoot with the rule of thirds in mind, if not on the actual screen. Now, trying things more than once. This goes with framing, and framing goes with trying things more than once, because your first shot will never look good until you're good.
Because when you're good,
you're good. But it kind of makes sense. Now, see this shot right here? I like this shot. This is the shot that I chose for this scene, but in the interest of trying things more than once, I definitely tried stuff like this wider version of it, but because of the purpose of the video being informational, I felt like the quality aspect, or the, I guess, environment aspect of the place I am and the chair being in a random spot, they're cool features, but they're not the meat and bones of the video. And if they're not the meat and bones of the video, then don't distract the viewer with randomness, which, as always, has an asterisk because you can do whatever the fuck you want. And the reason I bring up trying to get more than one version of a shot is because a lot of times, like right now, if I wanted to re-say the entire thing I had just said, but this shot looks a little bit better, don't be afraid to do that. I just took the shot right there. So don't be afraid to spend an extra 5 minutes reshooting the thing that you already shot if you think you can get a better version of the shot. Don't be afraid to reshoot. And don't be afraid to be silly. It's your vlog. No one gets to tell you how to do it or what to do with it. And granted, I'm a total hypocrite of that. I stress out about these shots way more than I should. I just got on and off that thing like 6 times to get the right jump. Like I said, reshooting is fine. Reshoot your shots. If you don't like it the first time, redo it. At a certain point, if you're putting it on the internet, it is a little bit of a show. That's how I think of it sometimes. Basically, be you, but in the most cinematic way possible. Another pretty good tip is to move your camera around way more than you think you need to. Now, this is a very Neistat style thing to do. Superwoman does does amazingly well on her vlog channel. David Dobrik does amazingly well. They don't do any sort of thing like this, but this is something that to me aesthetically gives videos a little bit more of a oomph. Also, do not be afraid to roast yourself. If you yawn on camera, if you eat something and you look stupid on camera, if you do anything stupid on camera, do the world and yourself a favor. Slow that shit down, put it in black and white. You know what to do. And if you're worried about people having bad pictures or bad images of you on the internet, you can freeze frame any video and make somebody look really bad. You get one of these faces going on, whether you want it to or not. So you might as well have fun with it. Also, if you roast yourself, it's a lot harder for other people to do it. People, if you watch vloggers, they mention this, but they never actually say it in a how to vlog video. So as somebody who vlogs, who, I don't have friends anymore, but I had a lot of friends. As somebody who vlogged with a lot of friends, do not shove your camera in their face. You will do it to some of your friends because you know their boundaries. Your audience won't be that mad at you for being like, hey, look, sorry, I didn't want to bring my camera in. And also, if you're gonna feel super anxious and anxiety ridden inside of a place because you have your camera, I wouldn't bring it then either. I've got my camera into movie theaters before. I've taken it just to vlog, and I've taken it for movie reviews and other types of stuff. Having a camera in a movie theater, whether or not you get stopped, is ridiculously unnerving because they will send security in every couple of minutes to make sure that you're not filming and all kinds of ridiculous stuff. Someone asked me the other day where my girlfriend's at in the vlogs, and when we got together, she was not comfortable enough telling me that she did not want to be in the videos. We are more comfortable now. She was like, hey bruh, do your thing. True, these are my thing. So don't force it on people. If there's people you want to force it on specifically, force it on them. Asterisk. The gist of it is there are places and times when it's not appropriate, and try your best. You won't know at first, but try your best after you make a habit of vlogging to know when it is appropriate and when it is not appropriate. And put the vlog wherever it needs to be in your life. If it is more important than the things, then make it more important than the things. But if you value your relationship more than the vlog, oh God. But if you value your relationship more than you value the video, that's something to think about. If you are in public vlogging and people are staring at you, yes, it is terrible while it is happening, but if you can catch them on film doing it, it'll be the greatest thing ever when you get home and get into the editor, because it is the funniest thing in the world. But granted, while you're doing it, horrible. I hate getting people staring at me, and granted, I roll with a big Joby GorillaPod and a big DSLR and a big mic, but if you roll with something smaller like an iPhone, it's a lot easier to deal with the people around you, especially because Snapchat is a pretty normal thing now, so a lot of times when you take video, people don't really think about it anymore, especially if it's with your phone. But if you're using a big camera, like right now, people are walking around and staring at me, and it's a fact of it. It's part of what you do as a vlogger. Like, if you're okay with people watching these videos when you get home, then you should be okay with them watching the video in person. Granted, when you have to reshoot things and you have to stop and say lines again, it gets really embarrassing. Just kind of got to deal with it. There's not something there that is an easy route for me to tell you how to get out of it or how to avoid it. I feel uncomfortable right now. So it's something that sticks with you, for me at least. I don't know if Casey feels weird, but I feel weird filming a majority of the time. And it's gotta be something you like to do. It's gotta be something you love doing if you are going to, it sounds weird to phrase it like this, but sacrifice public humility for the video at the end of the day, because the more you embarrass yourself during the day, or the more awkward you feel during the day, the better the video is gonna come out at the end of the day. So if you want to have a really good vlog, you got to shoot a lot. And if you're not looking to have like a real meaty, beefy, lots of likes, lots of comments vlog, then don't. Then sit in your room and shoot for 10 minutes in there. Believe me, if you go back and look at my videos, the videos where I go out and do stuff, I get way more likes, way more comments, more shares, more views, flat out. Videos where you just sit down and talk, people are not as into. I'm serious, I don't care how difficult it is. Move your camera, move your camera, move your camera. Even random, minimal movements help a shit ton. And something I will say, when you find yourself shooting at night, you will need to, at many points during the night, find sources of light. Right now, it's still bright enough out to where I can shoot in manual and still get, you know, a fair amount of light into the shot, but when it gets darker, there will be points when you have to use things like these lights in the background to light yourself. Granted, the shots will look stupid. And a lot of times you'll find yourself being really harshly lit from one side and not from the other. A good way to balance this out is to play around with the camera angles until you get one where your face is somewhat evenly lit. Those are some pretty basic options as far as lighting goes when you're out. Or, if all else fails, you could always have a friend hold a light for you. Thanks. And above all else, the number one thing, just keep posting. Just keep uploading. Just keep filming.